Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney.
And I'm MK.
And how are you?
I'm good. Yesterday was Mother's Day.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
you're like, I didn't remember.
I remembered on Thursday, but my gift did make it to my mom by yesterday.
Good.
I was very impressed by myself.
So Dan and I went to brunch at his mom's, and it was so nice because it was like the most low-key thing I've ever done with his family. Like, usually when we do holidays with his family, it's like absolutely wild, but like Mother's Day
Mhm.
is not that. It's just literally just the kids and mom, and we had breakfast and we just chatted, and it was nice out, and it was like
Love that.
so nice. I was like, okay, not as overwhelming as I was afraid it was going to be. Um, and then I went to the cottage and went to get hot dogs with grandma and mom, and like we do every year for Mother's Day, went down to the beach, and it was nice. So
Lovely.
it was really nice, and it was so nice out. And I was outside most of the day, and then I went back to work and continued state testing, and so all of my happiness disappeared.
I
But
feel that.
yeah, but how are you?
I'm okay. I'm still sleepy. But it's okay. I literally shut you were talking about going to work and everything fell apart. I went to work this morning and everybody looked at me. Like I walked in the door. I'm never on time. But I was like reasonably on the normal time I get there.
Yeah,
And I walked in the door and everybody was, and I was just like, and Miss Lori goes, "Ah, you're here." I was like, it's Monday. Like I responded just like that. 'Cause I was like, I don't know what's
what are
happening.
what is the question?
And I was like, it's Monday. And she was like, but did Rachel have her baby? I was like, yeah, but it's
Yeah,
Monday. I was like, I don't
yeah, but
understand.
also
Like, what is this conversation we're having right
but
now?
like also Rachel had a baby. I did not.
I didn't have a baby. I don't know. It was the most off the wall thing. And I responded to it like it was the most unhinged conversation I was having.
Yeah,
Because like I like do not know what's going on right now.
yeah, because it is unhinged for someone to think that somehow someone else having a baby that does not live with you and is not
Right?
your partner and is not your body would somehow preclude you from going to
Right.
work.
Well, I told them, I said I may move my days around a bit if Nick has certain days he needs to go in and Rachel needs something or whatever, like after her stepmom leaves. I said, but I'll give you at least a week or two notice before I move my schedule around.
Yeah. And
So far,
also
my
like
schedule has only changed because I left 20 minutes early on a Wednesday. Like that is the only change that has happened
and
so
also
far.
like unless she's like still in the hospital, what can I do about it? Other like
Right, right.
I don't know.
So
People,
like, but also like if I was not gonna come in, I would have told someone I'm not gonna come in.
yeah.
Like, did you think to ask Jalea if I was gonna be there?
Yeah, but based on the number
Like,
of people at your work who just don't go to work, I'm actually not surprised that they were surprised that you didn't.
but it's always me every time. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you're here," and I'm like, "I work
Yes.
here. I don't know. Do you work here?" Like, anyways,
Yeah, yes, I am here. I work here. This is
you
where I'm
said that, and
from.
it just like reminded me of that because that was the first thing they said to me. So I wasn't even like a person yet.
Yeah.
Um. Anyways, I wanted to show you my new team. Like, have I shown it to you yet? It's Alice in Wonderland. Nope, the
Oh,
other side is Alice in Wonderland. Now
yeah.
it's Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, that's so
Um, it was
cute.
like $10 from TJ Maxx, and it came with this cute little saucer.
Oh,
And
love
so
that.
I've been using it for therapy, and then I just can put my little if I have a little cookie, which I Renee brought some Lorna Doones. I had never heard of these. They're just
No?
sugar cookies. I mean, just
Yeah.
what are they called? Shortbread cookies.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm so shocked you've never heard of them.
I haven't, but I don't. My dad eats a lot of shortbread, but I just haven't. I don't know why I love shortbread. I don't know why I'm
Oh,
eating more of it. Um, but it's perfect. I can put a little cookie on the plate. I can put my tea bag on the side when I'm done with it. I use it during therapy.
I'm really
I'm using
upset
it
that
to
you're
be
using it
recording.
right now, not because I'm upset for you, but because I'm so hot that the idea of having a cup of tea
Mm,
right now makes me want to throw up, which is upsetting because I feel like it would be the perfect, like, my mood today,
yeah,
absolutely cup of tea
it's very
mood.
much a tea day.
My body is like,
Mm-hmm.
bitch, if you put a hot liquid in me, I will kill you.
See, my air is set on 69, which is usually a little cold for me, but make sure it doesn't get too hot. That is my goal. And if you
My
watched last week, I was in a blanket the whole time we
Yeah,
recorded.
my air is set to 70, which is mostly because if it was me, it would be set to 64 because I like to be
Sure.
cold, but
Me
Dan does
too.
not like to be too
Mm,
cold. And also
bummer.
Dan doesn't like the idea of paying for the air conditioning. It's not actually about the
Well,
temperature.
here's the thing. I also don't like that. However, I do like the idea of keeping myself alive, and I will want to kill myself if it gets too hot. So, like,
Yeah.
some things you pay for therapy, you pay for air. Those are things that are important to pay for to keep yourself sane.
Listen, I knew something had to have happened that I was going to talk about. And actually, I was going to save part of what I'm going to say, the other part of this debacle, I will save for next episode
So you
because
have to listen to both episodes to get the whole
yeah.
story.
But speaking of things that you would pay for, sometimes in life, it is worth spending money to make your life easier.
Oh, so often.
I married a man who apparently would rather suffer
Hmm.
all of the time than spend money on
Hmm.
anything, really. We are going on our honeymoon. We have
Are
spent,
you are you still?
at this point, we have spent a lot of money on our honeymoon. But we are flying out of Toronto, which is
Mhm.
about a 2 hour drive.
Sure.
And I don't want to leave my car at the Toronto airport.
Yeah, makes sense.
So we were going to have either my mom or his dad drive us.
Hmm.
And like maybe one way, one the other, whatever.
Sure.
But I was like, flight schedules, especially out of big cities, can be a little erratic sometimes, especially with like, we're flying into Brussels, and currently Brussels is having an airport worker strike. Like,
Mhm.
airports are not the safest set schedule in
Right.
today's day and age. Plus, like when you're coming into an airport in a foreign country, you don't always know how long customs is going to take. And the idea of somebody driving 3 hours, sitting at the airport, and then driving 3 hours back is a waste of their day, a waste of gas. I just don't think it's worth it to ask
Hmm.
our parents to do that.
Yeah.
Especially like when my mom will still be working.
Hmm.
His dad is a teacher at a college, so he has a little bit more flexibility in the summer, but that's still a lot of time.
It's a lot of time. Yeah.
So I was trying to find like there's a thing. Have you ever heard of the parking spot?
Mm-mm.
So it's a thing and it's across like I want to say like 30 or 40 airports in the US where they have like basically like you have like a membership like any like hotel where you can get points and stuff, but it's a
Hmm.
24-hour security parking area that's near the airport but not owned by the airport. It's its own thing. They have security. Their shuttle is much more convenient than an airport shuttle. And so I was looking into it and they don't have it in Toronto. It's only in the US. But what Toronto does have because it's such a big airport is they have a couple hotels that have park and fly.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
you stay in the hotel for one night and your room is like maybe $100 more than normal, but you
Uh-huh.
can then leave your car there for 15 days in their parking lot.
That's amazing.
Right. And it's not like a shitty hotel, it's a Sheraton.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think we should go to Toronto on Sunday, stay in the hotel. That way we can just take the airport shuttle from the
Hmm.
hotel
And you're not
whenever we
stressed about like what if there's traffic or
we're
what if
not
there's,
stressed about being late. We're not stressed about missing it. We are leaving our car there. The hotel desk will hold our luggage between checkout and when we actually need to get on the shuttle if we don't want to go straight to the airport. Like, we have in and out privileges so we could drive around Toronto and get lunch. Like, and then when we come back, it's technically a separate, like, it wouldn't be the same purchase because that's just the one plus the 15 nights of car.
yeah.
But then I was like, plus then when we get back, we already have to go to the hotel to get our car. We might as well book another night at the hotel, give ourselves time to get readjusted to the time zone, not have to worry about anybody meeting us at the airport, what time we get out of security, like shower, like be people again. Plus,
Mhm.
it's our honeymoon. Just like a couple extra nights to like relax and enjoy each other should
Right.
not be that big a deal.
Sure.
Dan was furious at the idea of this because he was like, "You think for?" I was like, and all in all, both nights and the parking of the hotel, $400.
Not bad.
He goes, just $400. I was like, what do you mean, just? I go, $400 is two additional drives to or from Toronto, somebody else's gas money, like peace of mind, convenience, time alone with just the two of us. What do you mean just $400?
Yeah. I mean, because if you think about it, like my car can go 4 hours, which my car I understand uses less gas than most people's. So it's going to be more than this. But like my
Yeah.
car usually go 4.5 hours and it's 30, 35 for a full tank of gas. So if I'm having to go both ways, I'm paying $70
Yeah.
for one trip. So then you think about doing that twice, that's $140 right off the bat.
Yeah.
So like it's $260 more and probably more expensive for y'all's vehicles. So like you're thinking they're spending at least 200.
Yeah.
And so you're spending 200 more to save other people's gas money. And if you
Yeah.
think of it the
And
grand scheme of things,
probably,
200 is not that much.
right. And probably my mom's car could do the there and back on one tank of gas. Fine.
Mhm.
And so I like, okay, so $50. But $50 plus she'd have to get out of work early to make sure that she met us at the right time. She'd have to drive around the airport and wait for us. She like it's dealing
And
with
peace of mind for getting to the airport on
two
time for a flight.
two additional people who have to deal with border security right now on top of just us. Like it just for me feels like such a
Yeah,
more intelligent decision. But it
absolutely.
costs money. So Brianna goes, either he A, hates you and doesn't want to spend that extra time alone with you, or he B, hates you and doesn't want you to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Or
was like,
C, he's a serial killer and doesn't want to have extra time in place. He's going to kill someone. Tell him that one.
yeah.
Maybe, should I give him a call? You'll be give Dan a call
Like,
and talk him
yeah.
through this.
Well, stay tuned to Sunday's episode if you
The
want to
part
know
two.
here
Ooh,
the part
okay.
two of the saga of me and money in this
Ugh,
honeymoon.
I can't wait. Speaking of money, I'm almost done paying off my New Jersey stuff.
Good.
God, good riddance. I'm paying my attorney registration tomorrow, and then I have two CLEs left, two CLE courses. I have like 8 hours left, but two CLE courses left that I have to do the last 2 days of the month, the 29th and 30th, whatever. I don't even know what month we're in. The 29th and 30th. And so it's gonna be like $320. So after I pay
Yeah.
my attorney registration, I have $320 more to pay. And then I should be done paying New Jersey. And by the end of this month, I should be done with my CLEs and my attorney updated registration for another year and a half or so. I mean, I think I have to do my registration every year. I actually don't know if I have to do it every year or every other year.
I don't know.
I know CLEs are every other year. Don't worry, they'll tell me.
Oh, I'm
But
sure they will.
I'm for sure done with it this year. And this is very exciting. So I am so good at finding the most nonsensical CLEs to use for my
Perfect.
CLE
I love
credits.
that.
So last year, we were allowed to use all pre-recorded because, or not last year, but the last time I had them done because it was still like in COVID
COVID.
times or so,
Yeah.
whatever. Like anything before 2024, you could do all pre-recorded. They didn't have to be live webinars. And so I found all of these backup recorded ones of this one professor who taught who used Harry Potter to teach the law.
Is this the one that you sent me the image of what was happening on your
No,
computer? Oh.
no, that was a stupid person. That was a trust and estate one. Like that was because I needed that credit. It worked at the right time. It was a little bit more inexpensive than the other ones. That is why I
Oh.
have that one.
Oh, okay, because that one was
That was not a
wild.
choice.
That one was not a choice I would have made either.
No, and I don't, and I don't think I got diversity credit for that one. I need to go back and do more research because I can't find the actual course. But I think I was supposed to get diversity credit for it because we have to get like so many credits, which I'll be fine even with the last two I'm taking. I'm taking a separate diversity and have separate ethics one so that I don't have to worry about it. But
Yeah.
like, I'm pretty sure it's not on my CLE paper. I'm pretty sure I was supposed to get credit for that. So I have to talk to them anyways. But the one I'm doing tomorrow is 8.6 credits out of the 21 I need.
That's wild.
It is all pre-recorded. It's the only pre-recorded one I'm doing because we can do half pre-recorded now.
Okay.
Everything else has to be live or like a live webinar.
Yeah.
and it starts at 8 and goes to 3:30, and it is the St. Valentine's Day Massacre trial, and they take you from like step one to the end to teach you trial. I have never been more excited in my entire
Amazing.
life, and I no one's gonna be. I mean, okay, Miss Lori's not gonna be at the office tomorrow, so no one's gonna be bothering me. So I'm just gonna put my headphones in, turn on my St. Valentine's Day Massacre trial, and just zone out and not talk to anyone all day. And then I don't go on Wednesday, I'm going on Friday instead. So no one will be there Friday either to bother me.
That
But
is
I've never been more excited.
so amazing. I am so since I have to spend all day at work tomorrow, stuck in a room staring at children taking exams, I
Mhm.
am so jealous.
I know. I'm sure. I mean, I don't even want to do trial. Like, I don't want to do court stuff, but I'm thrilled to sit through this and just listen to it and
Oh
see how it
yeah.
goes. They're not like reading and explaining it. They're like redoing it. They're like live actioning this trial to
That
teach
is
you trial procedure.
amazing.
That's so much fun. I can't
Ooh.
wait to tell you all about it.
Oh
It may be the
my
most
God.
boring thing in my life, but I don't think it's gonna be because the
I don't
Harry
think
Potter
it's gonna
one
be.
really held up when I wanted it to. And
Yeah, I think that's gonna be amazing.
yeah,
I'm thrilled for you.
so I can't wait. The last two are just two that I have to take, so I'm just taking them. They're not as exciting, but they just are what they are.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, so while we're in our money woes and our highs of trials and whatnot, do you have some words of affirmation, spiritual guidance?
Yeah. So I'm going through this Grey's Anatomy, these quotes, and I got to
Mhm.
an episode where there's only one, not a beginning or an end, and I don't understand what happened in this episode. I can't seem to find it, and every other site I've looked at also only has one. I don't know how this episode ended without a closing monologue or something. Um, or maybe the whole monologue only worked because they split it somewhere in the middle. I don't understand, but it also doesn't help anyone's emotional state. Um,
Sure.
it's a look patients get in their eyes. There's a scent, the smell of death, some kind of sixth sense. When the great beyond is headed for you, you feel it coming. What's the one thing you've always dreamed of doing before you die? Okay, hello. Clearly not my dream. See, I told you, not my dream. Don't know what
What's
she's
not your
doing.
dream?
I don't know. I don't know.
What
The
episode does this go with?
season 2, episode 16, it's the end of the world. Um,
Who dies?
which
Someone dies,
that's
no?
yeah, it's got season 2, episode 16. It's the hand in the chest bomb cavity episode.
Oh yeah, that's not her dream for
Not her
sure.
dream, no.
Also not my dream.
No.
Not very helpful for me for affirmations, but very valid for this episode.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
Bless it, bless it. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So yeah,
All right. Well, thank you for that. So now it's time to get into
something
Clarice.
something only slightly less upsetting.
Yes, season one, episode 5. And let me tell you, the dumbest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Oh
Um,
boy.
so I'm getting ready to get the title of this episode, and I don't realize we moved on to disc 2. And so while I'm doing my prep notes,
Did
I
you
pulled
write
this up.
setup?
I sure did. I sure, but that's a good title for an episode, is it not? Like,
It would be, except for that's the setup menu for the
I didn't know
DVD.
because I had clicked on it before, so I didn't even know I could do subtitles on this
Oh.
movie until today or yesterday, whatever. I watched this episode yesterday, I guess.
Mm.
And but I did. So all of my notes I have set up scratched out at the top with them. Because this episode is indeed called Get Right with God.
Yeah.
Very different title. Very different title.
Yeah.
Um, it aired March 11th of 2021. It was rated 6.6 out of 10, which is a little bit lower. And I don't know. I get we're not like billions of likes for the show, but I don't know why we're getting lower and lower each week, I feel like.
No, I definitely don't think this episode was as good as some of the earlier episodes. Like it felt like a middle
Yeah,
episode to me.
but weren't
But
we coming from
six,
like 6'9"?
but I don't think 6-6 is appropriate.
I don't think so either. I need to look it back at what last week's episode. Yeah, like I mean, I guess last week was 6'8", so I guess 6'6" is it just everything just feels a little bit low
Yeah.
every time. This is more of a 6'9", 7" for me, and the next one, the other one would have been like 7'2", maybe, you
Mm.
know? Um, so the number one song is the same, number one movie is the same. The number one book
Oh boy.
is one of the Sarah J. Maas books. Can you guess which one?
March of 2021. That would be Kingdom of Ash.
Absolutely not.
No? Then it's
No.
no, 2021. No, Kingdom of Ash definitely came out in 2021.
Well, it may have, but this wasn't not today.
Oh, first half of 2021. A Court of Wings and Ruin? A Court of Frost and
Where
Starlight.
does Silver
Silver.
Flame?
Oh, Silver Flame was the beginning of 2021.
What
Okay.
number is that?
5.
Ooh, how fast did these books come out? Because I read Court of Thorns and Roses in 2019.
And so, up until 2021, she had 1 or 2 books come out every year. But then in 2021, she had, and like I said, 2 books came out in 2021. But then in 2021, she had a child. And since then, since 2021, when she had her son, we've had 1 book total. No, 2 books total come out since then.
To be fair, as a writer, I don't even have a son. I don't have any type of children. Heard. I wrote a book in 2020 that I've convinced myself of pitching to an agent this year.
However,
Like,
however, what you don't do is what Sarah J. Maas and Bloomsbury Publishing have done in this month of May of 2025 of our fucking Lord and Savior.
I don't know what they've done.
Because this month, May 5th, 2025, is the 10-year anniversary of A Court of Thorns and Roses. So everything's been
Oh, it came out in
at
15?
2015. Yes. So
Okay.
everything has
So
been,
I was a little behind, but not terribly.
yeah, everything has been ACA-10. It's all these things, and Bloomsbury Publishing has been posting all these things, and all these bookstores have giant fucking 8-foot cutouts of the Court of Thorns and Roses, and it's open to the chapter about Callan May, which, look at that. Callan May is a festival that happens somewhere between May 5th and May 1st and May 5th. And May 5th is the 10th anniversary. And we have been waiting, and she was teasing all last year that an update was coming about the new ACOTAR book. And then fucking nothing happened. They posted the most bullshit thank you video on fucking Instagram last week of all time. Absolute fucking garbage. We have gotten nothing.
See, I may as well just wait at this point till all of them come out and then read them. I'm in my Charlene Harris era right now.
But because we are all psychos and we can't help ourselves,
Correct. You are all psychos.
all of the books are open to chapter 21. And in every SJM book, chapter 21 is the chapter that puts the seeds of what's going to happen in the next book into the story. And so, because they're all open to chapter 21, there's some weird fucking, and also she's obsessed with Taylor Swift. Sarah J. Maas is obsessed with Taylor Swift, and so all of us doing all these like picking clues out of shit she says is because it's like that's purposely she does that because Taylor Swift does that. So, but also one of the things that she did in the last video where she talked about the new book coming out was she spilled a cup of tea and she was like, oh, I spilled the tea. And May 21st, 21 is National or International Spill the Tea Day. So we think, we meaning me and all of Book Talk, think that maybe we will get an answer on May 1st.
So this comes out after that, so you
It
can tell
does.
us if she was right or
Yeah.
not. See, this is what I love. I don't have time to do this, but I love to know the trauma and the lore and the theories. And so I love when other people tell them to me because
Yeah.
I don't have time to figure them out on my own.
Yeah.
If I had, I don't know, a job, not 7, and wasn't like taking the bar, maybe I'd have more time. And
Yes.
I would love to spend my free time doing that. However, I've missed all of my free time and want to cry every day.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that you're here for me.
A Court of Silver Flames is the one that got real smutty.
That's what I hear. That's the one that Nora has warned me about. She's like, book 5. I can't wait till you get to book 5. And I'm like, haven't started book 1. I mean, I read book 1 ages ago, but like haven't restarted book 1. She's like, I can't wait till you're at 5. And I was like, okay, well, homegirl, you may have to keep waiting. Oh,
Oh,
she got engaged. She got engaged last week. Very
oh,
exciting.
congratulations.
So congrats to Nora. I'm sure she doesn't listen. This is not her thing. But
Fine.
but she did get engaged. I'm very excited for her. Her wedding's next July, so I'll be out July 4th of next year. Add it to your calendar. I can play my laptop. It's the parent dying. I was getting settled and then everything started. Oh.
Okay, so top book is A Court of Silver Flames. That's as far as we got because I am unhinged.
Yes, that's the top book. So on this day was the 2021 is it Cairo? Is that how you say that? Is it Cairo or Cairo? In Egypt.
Cairo.
Cairo. They had the Cairo 2021 Cairo clothing factory fire. And then I meant to look more into it because I wanted to know if it had any similarities to the
Triangle Shirtwaist Factory?
yes, thank you. But I have no idea what.
Oh, come on. What has happened? I got a new mic for this purpose. Did I unplug something somewhere? What have I
You
done?
did.
Son of a gun. How did I manage this? Gonna make weird noises until it.
Plug the stuff back in.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Okay, great. You're welcome. No more weird noises. I'm glad we could be here together for that. So that happened. Mexico was set to legalize marijuana, which would make it the largest market in marijuana at the time. And Prince William, singular, came out today and said that they are, quote, very much not a racist family because this was shortly after Harry and Meghan's documentary thing came out.
My podcast app hates me. I'm telling you, it hates me because every time when I open it and it suggests a new podcast that I might want to listen to, it keeps trying to get me to listen to Meghan Markle's new podcast. And I'm like,
she's in a podcast?
Yeah, fuck that bitch. I was like, have you met me?
I do know you don't like her, but you talk a lot about the British royalty stuff. So, like,
well, I know I've subscribed to like 8 different British royal podcasts, which I'm sure is why they think I want to listen to Meghan Markle.
Kelly, this is logically the next thing you want to listen to, for sure, which is fair. This is a you problem, I think.
Yeah, probably.
So our director is Chloe DeMott, same as last week. Writers are Jenny Lumet, Alex Kurtzman, and Tess Leibowitz, so returning. That's our standard 3. And our editor is Scott Gamson, who is not every week, but is also returning.
Yeah.
Our star of the week is Devin A. Tyler, who plays Ardelia Mapp. Obviously, we're not going to get to talk about Heavily Brown now, but I may, in some of the recap, go back and talk about some of the people we missed in the early episodes.
Okay.
So Ardelia Mapp, she is known for Snowfall, Clarice, and the Underground Railroad. She was born in New Orleans, so yay, New Orleans gal. She had really early roles as a child in The Curious Case of Benjamin Button and The Great Debaters. And her mom is Deneen Tyler. And she's got a really long career. So there's not a whole lot about Devin A. Tyler. Like, I can even find her Instagram. But Deneen has a really long, like, history. She's from, I want to say these are 2 very different places. I do understand. She's either from Houston or Boston. I do not remember which one, but one of those. But she really kicked off her career in New Orleans and moved here. And so Devin grew up here. And she's, like I said, she's done a lot of bit parts and she's been in a lot of things, but she's known for True Lies. So, like, it's more recent that she's actually gotten recognition as an actress. Probably around the same time, I guess, as Devin. But yeah, so there's not a ton about her, not really a ton about their family, except that they're both actors.
Okay.
So here we go. So we start at, I wrote the name of this place down. Is it Woodstone? Because I keep calling it the Coma Clinic, Woodhaven. And it's not the Coma Clinic, that's not the name of it. So we start at Woodhaven and we start with the song Everybody Dance Now.
Yeah, that was really fucking off-putting.
Our music supervisor is Liza Richardson for this episode, and I wrote that down because I needed to call her out and say this was stupid. I hate the music choices. Like, some of them are fine, some of them are average, but this is the second one in 5 episodes that I'm like, why are you the way
This
you are?
very much was like, I need you to remember that we're in 1994. That's all it was.
But it felt like they were trying, like, this scene and this, like, off-putting song made it feel like I'm watching Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'm like, these are different vibes. Like this,
Yes,
especially if you're gonna do like a police procedural.
Yeah.
This is not it. Like they don't play this in police. Like you're not gonna see this on CSI. Like you may have them listening to a song in an off scene. In a big scene, never would they do this.
No, it was terrible.
And I was shocked because she's done a lot of big stuff with good music. This show, I don't know what she's done.
Yeah.
I have no idea what brought this about her. So, and she's like music supervisor top, so like she's making choices.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I just needed to get that off my chest before we got too far in.
So valid though.
Yeah. So Clarice wakes up to the janitor cleaning and listening to his music, and she can't feel her legs. And it turns out we learned that she was given an epidural.
Wild.
Yeah. I was like, this is insane.
I was glad that that's where they went because at first, the way she grabbed her legs, I thought they cut her legs off, and I really was like, it is too early in this show for you to like do something that unhinged.
I didn't think that. I did not know what they had done. I did not go epidural first.
No, I went full amputation first.
Full amputation. We have left Hannibal and are in Clarice now. So people have not started losing limbs yet. We'll see how that progresses.
Right.
But this is, what is it, CBS? And that is NBC. Different channels.
Yeah.
So we learned she's given an epidural, and she starts like slowly remembering like why she showed up. And that Luann is really there. And Marilyn's in there talking to her, and she starts asking her why no one from the FBI has come looking for her. And she's like, I don't know. They might be. Who's to say? I don't really know. And then she's not answering her question, so she gives her more drugs and threatens to kill her. And I was like, this woman is unhinged. And so we pop over to Map's apartment, and she gets a call from Escobar. And he's calling to talk to Clarice, but he learns that she hasn't spoken to anyone, that she's not home, and that Map sent out like 5 911 calls. She's like, those are sacred. Like, if you don't respond to those, something's up. And she hasn't responded once. And so then we go back.
Don't worry, it wasn't actually calls, it was pages because we're in 1994.
Right.
People don't have cell phones.
Right. Yeah. We're in a different world. So then we go back to Marilyn, who's on the phone with a man, and he wants her to dig up all the info she can on the FBI. And so we start to kind of see a little bit of like we know that she's scared, and we know that she doesn't really know what's going on as much as she wants to believe. But she puts on this facade in front of Clarice, and now we kind of see her.
Did you have any feelings about that guy's voice, though?
Yes, and I don't know why.
It sounded like Cal Penn to me.
Oh, I don't think it's Cal Penn.
I don't think it was either, but it sounded like his voice, and then I got stressed out that he was gonna double cross us. I don't think
older white man vibes.
When we see him later, I did, but just from his voice, I didn't, and then I was like really stressed out. I was like, I can't take another double crosser.
No, because I've gotten in my head, and this maybe because I'm in my head, but I've gotten in my head that he's so much like the cigarette man from X-Files, whoever this man is. That's all I could hear when he called, because we haven't seen him yet, and so I just heard this voice to be this older white man who's a cigarette smoking man. So that's all I thought about. Yeah, so she's talking to him, and he's telling her to dig up stuff, and she's like, I just do. He's like, you have to know what she knows about the reporter. You have to know. And she's like, but then I get to leave. Me and Luann get to leave. Like, we're out of here. Like, and
Yeah.
she's like, that was the deal all along, and we still haven't got to go. And he's like, yeah, yeah, we'll have you a plane like 2 minutes after you're done. We just have to get this information. Bye.
Right.
So we go back to Clarice and we see that she pulls something off the wall. I could not tell which. I had my glasses on,
It
not my contacts.
it was an oxygen tube.
So that's why I thought it was a sharp enough thing that you can break into like a weapon, but I
Yes.
couldn't tell exactly what it was.
Yeah, it was the plug for her oxygen.
Yeah. And then she's like looking at the ceiling and she's watching all of the bugs, which this I didn't like this. It was great. I didn't enjoy it for my benefit.
Correct.
There were like bugs climbing around on the windows above her. It was so icky. And then the window just like bursts and all the moths start flying in.
Yep.
And they swarm her. And then of course they're not really there. So we get the credits.
Yep.
So now we head over to FBI headquarters and Map is arriving.
Mhm.
And we learn Cridler's away at a family thing. So no one's really like paid much attention to her being gone because they've been out celebrating Cridler's way with we've learned almost ex-wife. And so it's just Map that's really noticed that she's gone. Until Escobar calls. And so Clark even tries to say, like, oh, she could be at the movies or on a date, and they look at him like he's like never said a dumber thing in his life.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, so she also doesn't have a life like the rest of us. And they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Also, she's so new to town. Like, she doesn't know anyone but Matt. You think she should still, like, this person who is so obsessed with work and is, like, to the T trying to figure out this, gonna go to the movies or on, like, a date on a whim?
Well, and that's what is
she? No,
yeah,
boss. Boss.
and that's what is when Ardelia was like, yeah, she's in the middle of a case and she's just gonna like take a break to eat some Raisinets. That sounds really
Right.
like her.
Yeah, I was like, I get that nobody knows her super well other than Ardelia, but, like, you probably figured that out.
Right.
And so then they're talking about like what she could have done, like where she would go. And of course they like end up on the and this is another moment where it's like they've come to the right conclusion, but I just feel like they got there a little fast. But I also feel like the setup made it a little fast. Again, I'm gonna say this throughout the whole show, it seems. But I just feel like there's a little bit too much
Yeah.
convenience and structure. Where I'd like a little more give and take. So go to Cridler. And this is where we learn that it's a date or a dinner with his soon-to-be ex-wife. And she tells him that he always gets a nosebleed when they start talking about splitting up. And
Their relationship is so weird to me and I hate it.
yeah, and we get more into them later. I couldn't remember that was if they just had the one scene or two, but they have two. So we go back to Woodhaven. And Clarice, this is when Clarice starts seeing like flashbacks and visions and stuff. And she starts seeing her dad checking up on her vitals. And she tells him that she's scared. And he's like, it's okay. You've been away from home before when you were on your aunt's farm. Like, you know what it's like. You're going to push through. Like, you're going to be fine. And then she's like, aren't you, like, you're a lawman. Why are you here? And he's like, I'm just helping out. Don't worry. And then we see, like, a couple of flies around him. And when he turns around to walk off, like, he still has the hole in his head from the shotgun.
Yeah, that was real gross. I did not like it.
Yeah, that was icky. That had, like American Horror Story vibes.
It did.
From,
it very much did.
Oh my gosh, what was her name?
Nora?
Yeah. I was trying to think of her real name and I can't think of it, but yeah, Nora. And she wakes up to Marilyn actually checking her vitals. She's checking her eyes, make sure everything's still working. And this woman is an insane person.
Yeah.
And partly because she's scared, and I think partly just because she's an insane person. She powers up the defib machine to torture Clarice into talking and just starts asking her all these questions. And throughout all of this, she's having Clarice is having flashbacks of the land. And her dad keeps saying she'll remember what she wrote to him about because she keeps being like, I wrote all these letters, I don't know what they said.
Yeah.
And we obviously know a little bit about this backstory because it's the story that Clarice gave Hannibal in the Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
But we didn't get like detailed. We just get a little overview. And so her dad keeps saying that she'll remember, and she's like, I just know it was something about like I know I wrote to you about the sheep and the horses because they were my family. And then we're back to present day. She tells Marilyn that they've set her up. She's like, I don't know what you want from me. I don't know. Like, I can't give you the information I don't have. This is all a setup for you. Like, they're planning to kill you. And she goes into more detail about like finding drugs at her house. And she's like I saw this picture that set me off. I saw the drugs at your house. And it was all a little too convenient.
Yep. She's like, you don't strike me as the kind of person to leave evidence that obviously. So somebody planted it because you're disposable.
Right. And Marilyn's like, absolutely not. She's like, you're lying. And there's no evidence. I would never do that. Correct. That's what we're saying. And she says there's not a quote unquote they. Also wrong.
Yeah.
And so Clarice keeps saying, she's like, they always dump the girl. They always dump. And she starts doing this like a little bit of a maniacal laugh. And I was like, oh, I don't know about this. You sound a little crazy.
A little bit. But also she's being pumped with drugs.
Right. Like you're not wrong. And I get that you're not in a great situation, but you do sound a little crazy still. And so then she starts asking about Luann and like her abilities as of now. And Marilyn says that she can see and hear. And Clarice is like, oh yeah, that's the most humane way to do it. And she's like, yeah, I thought everything through it, like run all the tests, and like this is the most humane way. And Marilyn starts telling her about the other patients that are in the comas. And this is where we see Clarice kind of switch from being like, here's all the evidence against you to let me
analyze
like
you.
Empathize. Yeah, empathize with you. And so Clarice starts saying like, oh, you've alphabetized the people.
The absolute like she was so ready to just play this character, and then she just goes, did you just fucking alphabetize the coma patients? Like she was like, what who am I even talking to?
I know, it's so bonkers, like so bonkers. This woman has come up with such a system, and like she says that she's done it because she's the only one who cares enough to alphabetize them. And I was like, first of all, I care about a lot of people. Not once have I ever thought about alphabetizing any of them.
I mean, I alphabetize people when I give them a state test and I have to pass out an alphabetized paper.
Like need an order of something and you have names, that's how you order them. But when you have people in comas in beds, that's probably not it. That's probably not it. I'm gonna go with like you two are beside each other because you have the same symptoms or you have the same things we're treating. Like
or you have families that visit you on different days, so there's room next to your bed. Like
right. Like there's so many things that you do that's not alphabetizing them. So she's also crazy. And she decides, she's like, talk about how much she cares about all of them. And then she starts unhooking them all as a way to get Clarice to talk. And I'm like, woman, you are just one conundrum after another. Like nothing makes sense.
No sense. No sense was made.
No. And so then we go over to her house where Ethel and Clark are. They go visit and they notice that this picture's missing. And they're like, oh, maybe Clarice took it. And they're like, she would never like damage a scene.
Yeah.
So we're back with Quindler and his wife. And we learn some news about them. They're both alcoholics, it turns out. And it also turns out that the wife is not very good at being in recovery. So he's like, how many days? And she's like, less than you. Because she clearly is not very good at staying put. And they start talking about it, and he's like, look, with custody and everything, I think I should be the primary caretaker. Like, I have the means. I'm staying sober. We'll work this together. And she's like, you don't have time to be the primary caregiver. She's like, this is why this relationship doesn't work. Like, you're always last minute taking calls. You're gone all hours of the day and night.
Yeah.
Like, you're not capable of being a primary caregiver, regardless of if you would be a better choice or not.
And it's also like those poor kids, their choices are a drunk or a workaholic.
Right. And he's telling her, he's like, I got clean and I stayed clean. And she's like, you did that for me though. You didn't do that like for yourself. Like that's part of the problem too.
Yeah.
Um, and then to obviously make a point, Clark calls to say that Clarice is missing and tells what everyone else is doing, and he says he'll be there in 20 minutes. So,
Yep.
you know. So we go back to Clarice, and she asks if Marilyn was ill as a child because she's starting to pick up on stuff.
Yeah.
And she starts doing the quid pro quo stuff like she did with Hannibal. And she's like, this isn't how this, like, because Marilyn's like, you're asking me questions now? And she's like, that's how
Right.
this works. If you're going to ask me questions, I'll answer them, but you have to answer questions too. However, Homegirl never answers a question.
No.
Clarice doesn't answer anything. She just keeps asking questions.
Yeah, not one question was answered.
Like, you clearly do not know how this works. Like, we would have thought you had been better at this and through this, but obviously.
Well, and like I understand that she's like, I'm gonna keep her talking for as long as I can, but also like you literally did nothing of the things that you said you were going to do, and now
Right.
you have no trust with the patient.
Absolutely.
Or perpetrator or whatever word we want to use.
Whatever she is. And so we learned that as a child, she did have an illness. She had sepsis, and her mother put her into a clinical trial, which gave her Guillain-Barré. Is it Guillain-Barré syndrome?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wrote the individual, so I had to make sure I said it right. And it paralyzed her for a year. And so she, was dealing with all of that. And so Clarice tries to empathize with her, and she's like going to hold her hand. And as soon as she leans in closer, Clarice just like stabs the hell out of her. And Marilyn gives her another shot that's going to kill her, and she can't breathe now. However, Marilyn also panics because she realizes she needs to keep Clarice alive, or else she can't get away. And so she's like, hold, please, we're going to do this.
Just kidding, I lied.
So she gives her a pill and then shoves like an air, what is it called, the tube?
Yeah, and I know
Like
that
she intubated her.
yeah, so I was like, I know the verb of what she's doing, I don't know
Yeah.
what it's actually called.
I guess intubation tube. I'm just making stuff up now. But she
Happy
intubated her,
Nurses
she's
Day,
like,
everybody.
oh yeah, Happy Nurses Day. And she's like, so you won't be able to speak for a while, but she'll still be alive.
Yeah.
And cool. So like that sucks, but at least she'll be alive, I guess. And this is, I think it's later to find out. So now Clarice is in her head, and she's seeing herself like in Bill's pit. And it looks like the pit is just filled with syringes on the bottom. Like she can't get out, but she's just like cutting her foot on the syringes.
Yeah.
And obviously Marilyn's at the top of it all instead of Bill. And then the FBI arrives. However, terrible agents. They're
Bad.
the worst. So Matt says that she's going to the bathroom as soon as they get there, and Marilyn tries to stop her. And Calvin's like, she's an FBI agent. She's not going to steal your soap. He's like, I'll stay with you. And she's like, okay. So she goes and obviously goes straight to the room, but she's not there like 20 seconds before Marilyn walks in. And so like we have this very non-suspenseful suspense scene where we like are scanning the room with the light. She almost gets to Clarice's bed before she's caught.
Yeah.
Foiled again.
I'm stupid.
I know.
Everyone's terrible.
Everyone's terrible. So as they're leaving, Clarice is trying to like moan and make some noise, but she can't do it loud enough anyway. So
yeah.
And we start getting another flashback where she's seeing herself and she's crying with the sheep. And then we come back to present day. So Clarice can speak again. She's removed the intubation and she can speak again, but she's ultimately okay. Like she's not dying anymore.
Yeah.
She's, a little life's still not great, but overall she's fine. And she just starts ragging Marilyn about being forgotten and never taken care of by her parents. She said she's just lonely, and that's why Clarice is still alive, because she wants someone to talk to. And she starts talking about how, like, she knows that Marilyn paralyzed Luann, and, like, she's like, you did this to her because she didn't take care of you, but it wasn't her job to take care of you. It just was happenstance that it happened this way. And then she takes out her IV and throws herself off the bed in the most dramatic fashion. And she starts crawling out and thinks she sees her dad again, but then she's hit with the phone on the wall, and that is our cigarette smoking man.
And Dan goes, wow, saw that coming. So even Dan is like, okay.
Right, okay. So someone this isn't their genre.
Yeah.
Is even seeing it before it happens. So truly that's my biggest complaint with the show. This is not a terrible show, but that is too much. So then we go back to FBI headquarters, and Matt and Cal is talking. I can't for the life of me remember his name, so I'm just using it on forever.
Absolutely.
So Matt and Cal are talking about Clarice and Matt's fight, and he's like, "Well, was it bad enough that she would answer?" And he was like, "Not in that way. She may not want to talk to me, but like, not for a 911 page. Like,
yeah,
she would still respond to that." And then Clark and Escobar come in talking about the picture, and they're like telling them that it was missing and how like nothing made sense. And then Krendler comes in and says they found Clarice's car by the airport, which we learned is like super close to Woodhaven. So we go back to Woodhaven, and the man and Marilyn are talking about evidence that they found and what's kind of going on. And the man leaves just as Clarice wakes up. So we still don't see him. And then we get another flashback.
Yeah.
And I spilled water on this page, so I have to figure out what it says. So we learned that Clarice burned the letters after she wrote them, and that she wrote about her blind horse hand. We don't really know why. She doesn't know why she burned them, and her dad keeps saying, like, you'll remember, it'll come to you. And then she's like, well, there was a helmet with a cartridge in it, which I don't really understand. I saw a picture of this helmet, and I still don't really understand the situation.
It is not an ideal thing, but it's basic. Sure. It's basically so that you can put an animal down without scaring them in a time before people like humanely euthanize things. You like basically shoot the animal in the head, but you put a mask on to blind them so that they're not scared of what's coming at them.
Yes, I've seen that. I thought the person was wearing this helmet, and that's
it was the horse's face, and like that's why they focused on the gunshot in the back of her dad's head again, and it was like all the little pieces of reminding her that they were putting the horse down for being blind.
Right. Okay. I knew they put the horse down. Really, really couldn't figure out.
Yeah, no, the mask was basically like a blinder, like the way that you like put somebody to sleep before you humanely euthanize them. But instead of humanely,
I have seen those before.
Yeah, instead of like humanely like injecting them or putting them down peacefully or even like taking them, like that's like old Yeller shit. We took them out back, but we didn't want them to run away, so we stuck a fucking metal plate on their face. It's horrible.
It's horrible.
Horrible.
Old Yeller is the first thing that traumatized me. I think it's probably the first thing that traumatized anyone from 1962 until...
I think birth traumatized me.
Well, I don't remember birth.
No, I don't either.
Trauma at birth, but I don't remember it. So
I don't remember being born, but I don't remember ever not hating.
Sure. I mean, I had a cord around my neck when I was born, so like, I guess.
Yeah, so birth did in fact traumatize you.
Yeah. So it seems I'm all right though.
My doctor didn't.
Relatively speaking.
My doctor didn't show up to me being born.
Oh.
He got there late.
Well, at least you didn't get there late. At least you came out at the right time.
Right. I was cool.
Yeah. So then she says, I thought I should use this as my quote, and I didn't. But sometimes the scary thing is the only way to survive. When she's talking about like how to handle things, and I was like, oh God, that is so true and so upsetting. And so now we get back to the present day, and Marilyn's taking her to the incinerator. We learn,
which is fucking insane.
What a wild thing! Like this is where the show surprises me.
Yeah,
because they just do insane things that I'm like, who thought of that? Where is that your first choice? Is the incinerator? But fine.
But the number of people who are like, we're gonna put somebody in the incinerator so there's no DNA, like there's nothing left. Bitch, bones don't burn.
Right, but also, why is there an incinerator at like a coma clinic? Are you burning all the bodies? You're not taking them to like the morgue, or like, do you have your own morgue? Like,
Well, if it is a hospital that is old enough that they had a tuberculosis ward, then yes, they have an incinerator.
it's the 90s.
Doesn't mean the hospital's not old enough.
I guess
Like,
that's true.
no,
I mean, it looks pretty old. Like, it looks like a
yeah, I mean, like
hospital,
they
so.
shouldn't actively be using the incinerator, but it could still have been there. Like,
I guess that's true. Because it does look like it. I mean, it looks like an older, unused
Yeah.
hospital. It's just her. It's just her.
yeah, but
It's
like
probably an old building.
when
that
people had
she
like
just took.
influenza or TB, they were like,
Mhm.
burn the witch.
Yeah, burn the bodies. Yeah. Well, we're gonna burn Clarice next. So then Luann starts beeping and can move her toes a little bit, it seems. Um, and then next thing we know, Clarice is standing over Luann. And she stabs her to kill her so that she can run off. And so obviously Marilyn she does think about it for a second, but then she decides to go save Luann and let Clarice run. And then because she's still on all of these drugs in her system, she starts seeing like electricity buzzing and starts panicking and like seeing herself back in the pit, which to be clear, she was never in the pit, but she sees herself in the pit.
Yeah,
And
her PTSD is wild.
It's manifesting in such a strange way. But then Map is there to save her, and so Map catches her and then kind of passes her off a little bit to Escobar. Like kind of like both held her up, and then they go in the room. Map and Cranler go in the room to get Marilyn, and he's like, put your hands up, or I'll shoot. And she's obviously not stopping doing compressions because she doesn't want her sister to die as much as she
Right.
wants to paralyze her. She doesn't want her to be dead.
Yeah.
And then Cranler's like, I'll give compressions, but you have to back off, put your hands up. And so he goes to give compressions, and she just starts fighting.
She freaks
like
the fuck out.
Yeah. And then they finally get her kind of like they get Luann back. And then once they realize like everything's kind of slowed down, they learn that she has 2 needles in her hand. And before they can get a hold of her, she stabs them both into her throat to kill herself. And then our next scene is Cal documenting the scene for, evidence and whatnot.
Yeah.
And Cranler's making a call. And then we have Clarice and Matt. And Clarice tries to bring up their fight, and Matt won't let her. She's like, obviously now is not the time.
Correct.
So that is our episode. And that is the end. What are your thoughts?
I liked the plot device that was the hallucinations of her dad as her like outlet to work out because like she couldn't just like put the pieces together because she had drugs. So she was like trying and using the hallucinations as a tool to help her come up with the correct answer. Like I enjoyed that aspect of it. But at the same time, I agree that a lot of the like actual structure and plot of the episode was not very creative or unfamiliar.
Yeah, I agree. I like the plot device. I like using her dad because clearly he was the only person she's ever like super been close to.
Yeah.
And so it's it's showing her kind of work through her trauma in the wildest way. But everyone deals with trauma differently. But
yeah, but it's also very true to like the fact that like Hannibal, you pushed her to use her own trauma and her own past to put the pieces of Bill together, like using her own memories and her own emotions as the stepping stones in order to put the pieces of the puzzle together. It's true to Thomas Harris's writing. It's true to Clarice's character. It's the one way to bring Hannibal into the show without bringing Hannibal into the show.
Right.
So like
because we know that's the trauma that he pulled out of her was the Silence of the Lambs thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes sense. And like, also we know that that's what he's done with every other patient. So like, you're absolutely right that it's the way to like bring him into the show without bringing him into the show.
Yeah.
but yeah, so I definitely liked that. I don't mind the storyline. I think the plot that we're going with, I think the twinsies like storyline that is now obviously over. I mean, we may have Luann again, but Marilyn's gone.
Yeah, very
Like
much.
I think that that's an interesting storyline. I think that like their overarching plot is very interesting.
Yeah.
This idea of the like secret they, the secret like major core, the like whoever's running the show, like whoever the big bad is, like that's interesting, and I really want to know who that is. But it's just the leading up to it, some of
I
the
know
choices they make and how they
it's
execute it.
yeah, it is. It's not even yeah, like you said, yeah, it's not even the overarching story. It's the individual beats of the episode are so overdone.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is they're so overdone. And I think like I know I compared it to Grosse Pointe Garden Society last week where I was like, they're both kind of like in your face, they're a little bit cheesy, but they're like super murder mystery. I think the show's gonna cancel. Still think the show's gonna cancel. But I watched it again this week and I was thinking more about it in comparison to this show. And I was like, you
Yeah.
know, there's really a lot of differences because like it's cheesy and some things are over the top, but it does so in a sense of like more like a I know what you did last summer vibe as
Okay.
opposed to like a Clarice vibe. And
Yeah.
so like you still get some of that high intensity and like you don't figure out what's going on. Like they had so the season finale is this coming weekend, but they had the penultimate episode, which is where they revealed who died in the season. Because the very from the very beginning, you don't know who died. They do a lot of flashbacks. And never would have guessed. Never would have guessed who died based on any of the information I had. And they do a lot of in your face. But that's the thing with this one is they do a lot of in your face, and then that's what it is. Like
Well,
there's no like secret
and
hidden underlying
and
thing.
I can say that sometimes I watch things and I see things before they happen. Like
Sure.
I distinctly remember when I watched Outer Banks with Renee.
Mm.
She was like, I want to know when you figure out who it
Well, I
was.
haven't watched it yet, so.
Well, I'm not gonna, yeah. But she was like, I want to know when you figure out who it was.
Hmm.
Literally within the credits of the first episode, I was like, by the way, that's that person. And she goes, what the fuck? And I was like, it's just
Yeah.
a really it's a cheesy show and it's set up in a stupid way and that's the
Yeah.
most obvious answer. However, then how they got there was very well done.
Yeah.
This show, I don't know the answer. I have not figured that out. However, it's like the big carrot at the end of the stick, definitely still dangling. Definitely there. But every knot on the stick before you get to the rope, every time you know there's a knot coming up, I can tell you what the knot's going to be.
Which is where the difference is between this show and Guard and Gross Point, which Gross Point also is just like the acting's a little bit better too. But like they have the same elements and the same styles of this is our big thing we're talking about. But then they bury it and you don't know what's happening next. And you don't know like even when you're
Right.
looking back between 3 years ago or like 3 months ago and 6 months later, like you don't know the comparison. Whereas here you
Yeah.
figure it out every time. Like there's not been a time, okay, other than the incinerator thing that threw me off quite a bit. But like the answer to the suspenseful element, I figured out every time. Like
Yeah.
there are things here and there that I may not have known in the beginning. Like I didn't necessarily know that they were gonna play her off as a twin the first time we met her. But like you figure it out before they tell you.
Yeah.
Like, and so it's like it's just kind of a bummer that everything's so in your face. And I think that's really the downfall of the show because it
Yeah.
really is. I mean, and the acting is truly not great. Like Clarice, I bless her heart. Her and both Devin are like, oh, Cranler's great. Cranler's great, but he's got so much experience behind him.
Yeah.
Obviously, Cal Penn, he's playing every character he's ever played. And Escobar's not bad. I don't know him as well, and he seems fine. But like the rest of the characters are just
They're
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 just
not
there.
they're not very dynamic characters.
They're not very dynamic, and I don't care about them. I don't empathize with them as much because I don't feel like they care about themselves as much, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that I don't care if they live or die, but like I feel like they don't care what happens in the next scene, so why do I need to care what happens in the next scene?
100%.
But I do think the story is interesting, so I am looking forward to like what happens and how it comes out and like who's the big bad. I don't know, maybe we won't find out. Who's to say? It's only one season.
Right.
But and I'm interested, maybe we'll get to hear from Luann. Who knows? And then I can talk to Bob and Natalie Brown next week. Because they are the same person, which I didn't realize till this moment that could still happen. Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts?
No. No.
I don't really have any other thoughts either, but I will tell you, I forgot to look at the trivia until just now. It doesn't say how this relates, but it does give an entire overview of the FBI finding out and breaking into Waco. Like disbanding Waco.
Oh, no, because when Krenler and his wife were talking about how much he puts into work, she mentions him being there for the entire thing for Waco.
Well, yeah, but then they just explain what Waco is in the trivia. I mean, I guess that's something interesting people don't know about.
Yeah.
But like it's like a novel. It's not even just like, oh, they talked about Waco. It's like, here's a novel about Waco.
Well, I can't help that people on IMDb are fucking dumb.
I know, it's so wild. I was like, oh, they're gonna, and they don't even mention that that's the moment that they like are basing it off of. Anyways, and it says there's spoilers at the bottom, and there's nothing at the bottom. So I don't.
Did you click on the word spoilers? If you click on the, oh, okay.
Yes, it says there's one item, and there's spoilers at the bottom.
Oh.
And the only item is this novel about Waco, and there's no spoilers. Let's see if these errors are real errors.
See, because usually spoilers, it just says spoilers because you have to actually click on the word spoilers to open it because they don't put those.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's not there.
Cool.
The intubation was done wrong.
100% believe that.
And that an epidural means she would have a catheter in her back, not just an intravenous catheter.
Yep.
None of the medications would have taken effect so quickly, obviously. They did get the defibrillator, and the extubation seems correct, though, it says. They just copy and paste this. Yeah, absolutely. They have two factual errors, and they are literally copied and pasted. So what a wild time IMDb is having today. But yeah, so that is our episode. If you want to talk to us about it, so who do you want to punch in the face?
Oh, yeah, obviously Marilyn.
Obviously, for sure. I forgot obviously about it, so I haven't thought about it yet. You know, part of me wants to just punch Clarice. I get it. I
honestly,
get that the other guy should be
punched.
Oh no,
but like, Clarice was definitely on my list.
Look, we've just talked about how the whole issue Paula has with her is that she just goes and does stuff by herself.
Yeah.
And she goes again and does stuff by herself. Like, and this is not, and like, it's one thing that she's like, I do this by myself because one, they're not gonna let me do it, so it has to get done. Or like, I don't want anyone else to danger. However, we just got through the scene where both Calpin and Escobar went with her when they weren't supposed to. So they obviously would do it again. Like, this is not, this is stupid. So I'm punching her because I'm frustrated with her.
Yeah.
And her logic. So who's your MVP?
Ardelia.
Yes.
She's the only one who's like, no, guys, this is like actually a problem.
Yeah, she's the right choice. So I told you I'm so tired. I'm gonna go with Escobar. Like I've picked it like every time. And you're not a serial killer, so kudos. So I realized that took you a second.
Yeah, no, I was like, what? Oh no, okay, yes, got it.
So because he jumped into action when Ardelia told him something was wrong, and he noticed and made a point about saying like Clarice would not have taken this picture as evidence when Clark tried to be like, oh, maybe she took it for evidence, and he's like, she would never like disturb a scene. So that's that. If you want to talk more about Clarice, if you have some thoughts, feelings, etc., you can email us deathandaliens@gmail.com. You can find us on all of the social media at Death and Aliens. You can find me at CECloud13.
And you can follow me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And we will see you for a wild sci-fi Sunday. So, and for the part 2 of Mary Kate's story about money.
Yep.
So come back. See ya.